Hello, everyone, and welcome to Women in Clean Tech's virtual happy hour, Decarbonizing the Grid with Community Energy. My name is Kelly Rachinsky. I'm so excited to be here with you today to moderate. We have two fantastic experts who I'll introduce shortly. So firstly, just wanted to thank you for joining us. You could be virtually anywhere today, but you're here with us to work on your career, to talk about energy. I'm sure all of you are familiar with Zoom etiquette, but this is our bullet point list on it. Please ensure that you're muting and unmuting respectfully. And we encourage you to leverage the chat. And we're absolutely paying attention to questions coming in from the chat that we can bring forward to our experts. Please share your LinkedIn profile in the chat. We do save it and then also share the chat with everyone afterwards. So if you're looking to connect, then that's a great way to do it. And as a friendly reminder, we come to these events with the intention of being respectful to everyone around us. So please come with that intention as well. Be a present and active listener, and please take away any insights that you can and leave any judgments behind. Next slide. Thank you. Our quick agenda today: arrival, intros. Well done, everybody. We're all here. We're very fortunate to have the Clean Power Alliance here today with Karen and Tyler to talk more about what they're up to down in Southern California. We will have two breakout sessions, as you can see, which is our typical format. For those that are new, they're about 12 minutes long, ideally 4 to 5 people, and we will be covering the questions outlined above. So the first one is, what choices can you make or are you making to speed decarbonization in your home, workplace, or community? And then the second one will be, what is one idea or inspiration you will take away from CPAs and other CCA experiences? Next slide. So this is us. I can brag on Women in Clean Tech a little bit. I've been on the board of directors for 4 years, and over those 4 years, I continue to grow my own skills, my own network, which supplements my day job. And so I can't recommend enough to get involved. We are fostering an influential network of professionals to further the roles of women and everyone, growing the green economy, and we hope to make a positive impact on the environment. We host monthly events in person and virtual. I have to say our events committee was kicking ass and taking names because they have been doing weekly, almost weekly virtual events since everything got shut down around March here on the West Coast. And I've been so impressed with the quality of what they've been putting together. And this is a great example of being able to make connections. So I'm glad you're here. We also do host our WCS Talks TED Style Conference, which is strong leaders who are talking about their experiences in short 10-minute snippets. So happy to discuss that more if anyone's interested. And I think one of our premier programs is our mentorship program, and any of the WCS persons on the call are happy to connect on that point. I'll take the next slide, please. Our virtual membership, I'm so excited about this. Also a result of what's been happening in 2020, but even more so, demand that's been coming out of Portland and New York for Women in Clean Tech to have more of a presence there. So we just opened our first chapter in LA, and we're looking to expand. If any of you are based anywhere else in the US, we're really interested to see how we can connect with you. What I've been finding with the virtual world is some people are more free to connect than ever before, so that's excellent. If you become a virtual member with Women in Clean Tech, then you can attend all of these events for free, both our educational panel events as well as these virtual happy hours. And you have access to the WCS membership portal. So we're looking to continue to grow value there. And if you're interested, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll put my details. I'm the co-chair for the membership. So happy to talk on virtual membership as well as corporate. And if you're interested and sign up today, then you are welcome to have a reimbursement on tonight's event. Next slide, please. And then this is excellent because it leads right into what I was hoping to talk about, our Think and Negotiate Like a CEO workshop. So as well as educational events, we do have this executive leadership workshop series to really cater to C-suite and other leaders in the space. And so I'm excited about Think and Negotiate Like a CEO. This is a 3-part workshop. So come and join us on August 27th, see what it's all about. And again, if you're a virtual member, then you can attend this event for free. And then upcoming in September, we have Ensuring a Sustainable Autonomous Future. So if you're interested in transportation, if you're wondering what's happening right now with the electrification, then come and join this conversation. It was an event that's been postponed until now, and I think it's definitely going to pivot. And then of course, every Thursday around 5, we have our virtual happy hours. And I'll have the next slide, please. Excellent. We're getting to the best part, and I get to introduce our experts. So we have Karen Schmidt with us today, who is the Regional Affairs Manager for Clean Power Alliance. And she has been overseeing government affairs, community engagement, marketing and communications across 32 independent jurisdictions between Los Angeles and Ventura counties. So I'm really excited to hear what she has to say about managing all of those different interests. Her clients have included utilities, global energy companies, as well as other organizations. And she holds an MBA as well as an MS in biology. And then following, we have Tyler, who will be talking about design, implementation, and evaluation of clean power. She's been working with the growing suite of customer programs. So I'm really curious to see what the Clean Power Alliance has been working on. And Karen, I'm happy to hand the mic over to you.
Thank you, Kelly. We're very happy to be here today. Look forward to getting to know some of you in the breakout sessions. I also want to mention we have a third Clean Power Alliance team member here, Jennifer Giles, who is our commercial accounts executive. And you'll hear a little bit from her during our presentation as well. So thank you all for being here, especially if you're up north and dodging fires. I hope everybody is staying safe and finding some clean and cool air to breathe. In light of the recent events of the past week or so, we could have scrapped this entire presentation and just talked about what's going on with the grid these days, and maybe we'll get into some of that in some of the breakout conversations. But for now, we're going to talk to you about what community choice energy is all about, and the role that Clean Power Alliance is playing in decarbonizing the grid, and hopefully inspire some good thinking and discussion about how we take the next big steps to really move the needle on getting to a zero emission economy, which is, we've got so many emergencies to deal with right now, but we can't lose sight of, the overarching urgency of addressing climate change. So thank you for being here. But yeah, let's go ahead. You can go ahead to the next slide. So Clean Power Alliance is a community-based electricity provider based in Southern California. We launched in 2018, founded on a belief in a clean energy future that is local, where communities are empowered and customers are given a choice about the source of their energy. Next slide. So we are what is known as a Community Choice Aggregator, or CCA, and we offer our member communities, like all CCAs do, a choice of their electricity provider. And if you know anything about the electricity industry, you will know that up until Community Choice Aggregators came along, most people, individuals or businesses, had little or no choice about the source of their electricity. So choice is a big part of who we are, and we'll talk a little more about that. Next slide. So the state of California authorized local governments to form community community choice aggregators back in 2002. This was in response to the energy crisis that was sparked back in the late 90s and early aughts by deregulation. The original intent of that authorization, that legislation, was primarily around providing local control over energy decisions and transparency for customers. Since that time, the movement has grown substantially. By some state forecasts, I think, by 2030, as much as 80% or more of the state will be getting their electricity through a community choice provider. Over that time, part of what has really spurred the expansion of CCAs is the ability to use CCAs as a vehicle to accelerate decarbonization. Next slide. So CPA itself was, as I said earlier, was formed in 2018. We were at the time the 19th CCA, and I'm not sure what our numbers are at now. There's probably been a few more, and several more are in development. We are the largest CCA in the state. And in fact, we are the 5th largest electric utility in the whole state. We are organized as a joint powers authority. We are a public and not-for-profit entity comprised of the 32 local cities and counties across Ventura and Los Angeles counties that make up our membership. Looks like we're already on the next. Sorry. I've been saying next too much. We're ahead. If you could go back one slide. We serve approximately 3 million people over about 1 million customer accounts, and service for most of our customers began in the first half of 2019. So we've had a little over a full year of full operating experience in serving 1 million customers. Now, next slide, sorry. How CCAs work, we are on the supply side of the electricity equation. We purchase clean energy for our customers. The investor-owned utilities, in our case, Southern California Edison, still owns and maintains the grid and delivers the electricity to the end user and also handles billing. Next slide. So choice is central to who we are and what we do. In addition to offering customers a choice of electricity provider, we also offer them a choice of rate products to choose from with different levels of renewable energy and different price points. So kind of our quote unquote entry level product is called Lean Power. It has 36% renewable energy content, which is comparable to what Southern California Edison provides, but it's a little bit cheaper, about a 1 to 2% discount off of Edison rates. Our mid-tier product is called Clean Power. It is 50% renewable, so it's a substantially higher renewable energy content, and it's priced at parity with Edison, so you get a better product for the same price. And then our third product is 100% green power. This is 100% renewable energy, 0 carbon emissions, and it does come at a premium. It's a 7 to 9% premium relative to Edison's base rate, but you get 3 times the renewable energy. The other key point about the way CCAs work, and this is built into the legislation that enabled CCAs, is that when a community joins a CCA, it becomes the default electricity provider. So each community that joins a CCA decides what the default product will be for its customers, what they will automatically be enrolled in if they don't take any action. We have communities that have chosen all 3, we have default communities on all 3 of these products. And once a customer is enrolled, they can switch to another product, or they can also opt out and return to Edison. Next slide. Probably the key takeaway from all of this is the power of that default choice. Of our 32 member agencies, 10 of them, a full third of them originally, or almost a full third, chose 100% green as the default choice for their communities. We have a couple more that are switching their default right now to 100% green because they see it as a fast, easy, and relatively cost-effective way to get to zero out the electricity carbon footprint for their communities. So we now have over 250,000 customers receiving 100% renewable energy, making us the largest provider of 100% renewable energy in the country. And we are meeting the state's greenhouse gas emissions goal of the state's goal of getting 60% of the electricity from renewable energy by 2030. We are there now. So we have hit that goal 10 years ahead of target, and we're charging forward to do even more. Next slide. Affordability is important, and one of the things that the communities who chose 100% green as their default, they also at the board made a decision across the board that customers who need financial assistance in those communities will get 100% renewable energy at no extra cost. We also have a relief fund right now to help customers in need because of COVID. Next slide. So we have to procure a lot of renewable energy to meet that demand, and this we are seeing in action that demand is spurring, that the market is hearing that signal and is responding to the demand. We already have over 750 megawatts of new renewable energy under long-term contract, along with 288 megawatts of battery storage, and more is on the way. Next slide. One thing, and this gets to some of some of the questions that have come up during the current grid emergency about what if any impact does the shift to renewables have on the current emergency. The answer is it is not because of renewable energy that we were in the situation that we were in this week, but we do know that battery storage is going to be a critical component of decarbonizing the grid. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Tyler to talk about how our customer programs are a key part of decarbonizing the grid.
Thanks, Karen. Great job. You got through that so fast. I know we were worried. So in addition to all the work Karen mentioned around our default products and our procurement work to decarbonize the electricity grid, it's also a huge part of our mission to deliver customer programs that also address decarbonization. And so this year, actually in June, our board approved the local programs for a clean energy future, and this is our local programs roadmap for the foreseeable future. And this is really exciting for us. This was the result of a huge stakeholder process. We conducted workshops and interviews and customer surveys, and really, trying to identify the regional priorities for energy programs that also align with CPA's priorities and needs. And we arrived at a framework that categorizes our priority programs into 3 categories: resilience and grid management, local procurement, and then relevant to today's conversation, building and transportation decarbonization. So these programs are building on the work that we've already done as a young organization, and without duplicating programs that the customers can continue to access through Southern California Edison, their utility on the delivery side, and just trying to continue to innovate in that space. And then I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jennifer for our last slide. Jennifer Giles.
Jennifer, you're muted.
Thanks. So thanks, Tyler and Karen. So how are you decarbonizing in your community as an individual and as part of your workplace or local groups that you're involved with? There are quite a few things that you can do. So if you are served by a CCA, and there are quite a few in Northern California, you can choose the greenest power available. And most of the CCAs do have a 100% green renewable carbon-free product that you can select. And it's usually a small premium to pay. And it's an easy, efficient way for you to get renewable energy served to your home. Also in your business too, if you happen to have a business where a CCA is located. If you aren't served by a CCA, you can advocate within the community for choice. And that's how most of these CCAs started in California. It's just a few people who came together and started advocating to have choice within their community for electricity generation. You can also check with your utility. Most of them do have green pricing programs, so they might have a 50% or 100% renewable product that you can select through your electricity bill. And then you can also support the local community's effort in climate action planning, as well as within your organization at your place of employment. You can take initiative and develop sustainability goals if that hasn't already been done, or greenhouse gas reduction goals and metrics. If it's possible, you could spur some interest in doing on-site renewable energy procurement. It's that, again, there's usually 1 or 2 people within an organization that really get the ball rolling on installing rooftop solar or a solar carport in a parking lot. And that's another thing you could do at a workplace. And then you can make your own personal investments and choices and making a difference. You can, if you are able to add solar at your home or a battery storage system, that definitely helps with demand response and storing energy for times when the grid is overtaxed. Like now, we're having a bit of an energy crisis now with the high temperatures and the fires. So utilities have asked people to rely on their storage as backup storage, and that's really helped in alleviating this crisis that we're having at the moment. And then you can also make your behavioral changes that really do have a big impact. Things like walking to work or taking public transportation, turning off lights, conserving energy within your home. So there's just many things you can do that do add up and make a difference. And that concludes our presentation today.
Thanks so much, Jennifer. I think we'll just go to the next slide so that we can all see how anyone on this call can contact each of you 3. We have Karen, Jennifer, and Tyler email all available. Thank you so much, ladies. We appreciate the insight. It's really interesting what you've been building over there.
Kelly, can I just interject one comment on demand response relative to the current grid emergency?
Sure.
I just want to point out that one of the really impressive things that happened this week, starting on Friday, but especially Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, part of the reason that we didn't experience a whole lot more rolling outages is because CCAs and IOUs and lots of people in the electricity sector got the word out to people to conserve energy from 3 to 10 p.m. And you can see from looking at the load curves that it had an impact. It, to borrow a phrase, we bent the curve with conservation, and the response happens really fast. And in contrast to, one of the other responses that was underway, which was ramping up old gas-fired generators that take an hour or more to respond. And when you're about to have an outage in 10 or 15 minutes, waiting an hour for an old generator to fire up, it doesn't do the job. But conservation came through, so it really does make a difference. And we're eager to learn from that how we can make that more of a something that people think about even when we're not in a crisis situation. So thanks.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate that. And actually, before we let our producer Abigail teleport us all into our discussion rooms, Karen, do you want to just take a look at the next slide and share what events you and your organization have upcoming?
Sure. We just threw up, these are 3 conferences that I was about to say that are happening in Los Angeles, but of course, these days, all events are happening everywhere thanks to COVID and Zoom, so everybody can participate. Just tomorrow, the U.S. Green Building Council is hosting the Municipal Green Building Conference, focused on what communities here in Southern California are doing around green buildings and climate action planning and so forth. Mid-September is the Net Zero Conference. This is billed as the biggest net zero conference in the world. We sponsored and participated last year. Jennifer and I were there. It was a great conference. Looking forward to it this year. And the week after that, the Los Angeles Business Council is holding a sustainability summit. We are sponsoring all 3 of these events, exhibiting, speaking at some of them, and hope to see some of you there. And I'll just note, if you're interested in learning more about Clean Power Alliance, of course, you can visit our website, and encourage you to sign up for our e-newsletter to hear more about what we're doing as things develop.
Great, thank you so much. And I think that presentation was so useful, especially what was being shared at the end. So let's use that inspiration as we get teleported into our first breakout room. Are you ready, Abigail?
Yes, I am ready. Thank you, Kelly. So I will magically teleport you into your breakout session, your first breakout session of the night. It will run for about 12 minutes, and your breakout room facilitators will be prompting you with that question. So hope you all enjoy. I'll be here in the main hub in case anyone's having any technical difficulties. So with that, let me open up the rooms, and sometimes it takes just a minute to actually place everyone. So bear with me, and hope you have a great discussion. Thank you all.
Thanks, Abigail.
Hey everyone, welcome back.
Hi Yasha, how are you? Aurora, still in Mexico?
Yes, still here.
Awesome.
Glad to see you.
A few more seconds for folks to come back. They should be joining us.
So Canada to Mexico. Wow, look at us go.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome.
Canada, Yasha?
Oh, you gotta unmute.
Canada, Calgary.
Whereabouts, eh? Calgary.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where my dad's from. The Texas of Canada. Welcome back, everybody. Awesome. Good to see some familiar faces. We're back in the main hub room just for a little bit. I'd love to grease the wheels a little bit. If any of our facilitators would care to share a concise point on what you learned in your breakout session.
Well, I'll jump in. Had some great ideas about personal actions that people can take, shop at the farmer's market, encourage meatless options at your company cafeteria, but also a recognition that to really move the needle, we need to look at larger scale. You know, how do we address industry emissions? How do we affect, you know, where money is invested and the impact that has on the carbonization or decarbonization of our economy? It's a great group.
That's a great point. We can make more impact by attacking industry. What about you, Sarah Fuentes? What did you guys learn in your group? Oh, I think you might need to unmute your phone for us, my friend.
So we had 2 business owners in our group, and obviously you could start your own business to make an impact and to control consumers, right? And not necessarily controls consumers, but also it control what consumers are buying or investing their money in. The other thing that we talked about is how to talk to our friends. Some people in our group, I was that person that said, you know, sometimes I shame my friends for purchasing things that are not good for the environment, and I have no shame in it because I do it in a fun, playful way, and they're my friends for a reason. So I feel like it's my obligation and my right to tell them, like, hey, you know, what you're doing is wrong, or it's not really right, and I love you anyways, but I forgive you, kind of thing. Like, and I think if we did that more and more of saying, hey, I forgive you for that, like in a sarcastic way, but really it might make them think. just because like when I was sharing with them, hey, I posted this event on Facebook, and next thing you know, I get my friend talking to me, isn't this the reason why, you know, the California energy is blacking out and the rollouts are happening in California? That's what Newsom said. And I'm like, oh, like, you know, so we're going to get kind of backlash for being the pioneers of believing in this. So it's okay to feel a little beat up at times, but it's okay to kind of nudge our friends and nudge our community in love, so to speak.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to share?
Sure, I'll go. So conveniently, the most recent Energy Gang podcast was about like the fastest way to decarbonize was to electrify everything. So we talked about different ways that was happening in our homes. So in one case, Megan's family just got solar panels, and they're trying to debate if they should get the battery to go with it or not, so they can be completely off the grid and completely renewable, which is just a hard financial argument that Megan is fighting that battle with her parents to really try to push them to do that. I mean, it's interesting the role that unfortunately money plays when we make energy decisions, I think more than any other sustainable choice. And then we also talked about if you wanted to switch your water heater from a gas to an electric one, they're more expensive. There's installation costs. It's just a really complicated thing. It's not as easy as saying, do it. And it's just unfortunate.
Thank you, Leah. I appreciate you sharing. I think we'll rev up to move into breakout 2. Maybe one more person can share a top learning from their discussion.
I would just like to alert all of you phenomenally inspiring women to realize that sometimes you're not always in a collegial setting. You're in a street fight with someone that, you know, wants to take your movement, your organization, your program, your CCA down the tubes. And there are a lot of the investor-owned utilities, and Southern California Gas Company in particular is opposing electrification, for example, of homes right now. They have a nonprofit group that goes out and threatens to disrupt meetings where the cities are talking about electrification of homes. So just be aware that it's not always collegial. Sometimes it does require being aggressive. And I just want to encourage women, as well as men, when it's appropriate, to feel okay about being aggressive.
Thank you. I know Sarah is giving you the I can see Sarah giving you the thumbs up, and I know she believes in it, and so do I. I think that absolutely you have to stand up for what you believe in. And I actually love Sarah's response where she was sharing that you could become a business owner to reduce your carbon input and put it into the hands of consumers. So let's go ahead and break into number 2. Abigail, shall we transport?
Yes, I am ready. All right, everyone, enjoy your second and final breakout discussion of the evening, and we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Great. Hello.
Hey, welcome back.
Matthew.
Just give it a few more seconds and folks will be joining us. Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
I was just trying to see how to say this gentleman's last name. Matthew? How do we say your name?
Hi, Kelly. Matt. Dejansky.
Dejansky.
Yeah. How you doing, Kelly?
I'm well. I'm Rachinsky, so I'm always curious.
Yeah. Hungarian.
What brings you here?
Yeah.
What's your?
So I was at Climate One. In fact, we talked last year sometime at Climate One for a couple minutes.
Oh,
I was sort of a Climate One attender. Yeah. And I also attended one of these sessions, I think, somewhere downtown. So yeah, I work for an energy company, going to retire in November, and want to work more on the demand side with promoting a common conversation between energy, automotive, policy, and technology to remove barriers of commercial interest and of technology protection which gets in the way of quicker advancement in the demand side. So that's my elevator speech on what I'd like to do and why I'm interested in, working with you guys.
Right on. Well, I'm glad that you came here to meet people today. And since I've got you talking, would you share a top learning from your discussion today?
Sure. Be happy to. Now? Oh, yeah. So I guess what I just said earlier is that every individual action we take can come together to create change, right, for the world and through the infrastructure that is currently involved in the world. But at the end of the day, it becomes a conversation of doing what's right for the planet and each other, juxtaposing with cost and convenience, right? And that to me is I think that the biggest challenge that we face in this journey, whether we're individuals, whether we're a family, or whether we're an employee or a company. It's this whole thing about doing what's right versus doing what's cost effective and convenient. And that to me is the biggest opportunity, right, as we go forward. So I think attacking this on an individual level is a superb way to start, and look forward to joining it with you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Do we have any facilitators who'd like to share a learning from the last discussion before we close it out? No? Nobody? Well,
I feel like Kelly is looking at me. I don't know why. So I'll tell. So Jessica in our room, she said that she has looked. I was quite impressed. She has researched and find out all about CCA concept, and unfortunately, when she researched in her part of LA, it was not available. Erin is in Oakland and has shared with us a lot of her experience working in with PG&E, not at PG&E, but I guess as an energy consultant or environmental consultant. So, and in Oakland, she lives in Oakland, and there's East Bay Community Energy there, so she's able to make use of that. Yasha is joining us from Canada in Calgary, and she will be looking into clean energy sources in her area, but she also, I think, echoed the same sentiments that Matthew was talking about, attacking the problem at an individual level, consuming less, making the right choices, and encouraging others to do the same. So, and I'm inspired by all of you, so I feel like I learned a lot today.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Layla. I appreciate that. And for all of you for your ideas and for joining us today. So we'll just wrap up here very quickly. One more shameless plug on our end. As I mentioned, I'm serving on the board and specifically the membership committee. Thank you so much, Layla. So Layla will pull up our last two slides, the virtual membership. If you sign up today, we're very happy to reimburse you for the cost of this event, and you can look forward to coming to more of our events for free. It would be wonderful to see more familiar faces as we continue to do this. And you can go to the next slide. Thanks, Layla. And we'll just share with you that you can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'd love to connect with you. I shared my LinkedIn in the chat, and we'll share it in the Eventbrite follow-up. And of course, thank you so much, Clean Power Alliance, for partnering with us today on this event. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. It was great to meet all of you.
Thanks, everyone. Night.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for coming.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.